Tata Motors has been already dominating the electric vehicle segment, and they already have 3 products, and this one right here is the 4th one, the much awaited Tata Punch.ev. And we have driven this car, we have taken it through an off-road track, we have driven it on a track as well, and in this video I'm going to be able to tell you quite a lot about this car, so stay tuned till the end of the video. Now, to start with, the Tata Punch.ev is based on a completely new architecture which will be used only for electric vehicles, and it's called the active architecture, and it is based on 4 layers. You have the battery, then you have the chassis, then you have the electric architecture, and then you have the cloud architecture as well. And if you look at the design, it might remind you of the Tata Punch, which is the ICE variant, but the overall chassis has been changed. It's more rigid now, and the suspension setup is also a bit different. Now let's take a look at the front, and the front is where most of the changes are, and you'll see this nice connected LED DRL. Now only these 2 elements will light up when the car is running, and this one lights up for the welcome feature, and also when you're charging the battery, it will fill itself up as the battery is charged. Right in front you have the charging port, which can be operated from the inside, so you can't press it and open it. There's a button on the inside which I will show you, and then this will open up. Another big change, and first in the segment, is this 360-degree camera, and you will also see a redesigned bumper. Overall, not a lot of air intake is required, so you'll see a lot of closed off panels. And on the side you have LED headlamps and fog lamps. You have this nice little gap here for air intake to reduce the aerodynamic drag. Come to the side and you'll notice that things are pretty similar to the petrol Tata Punch, and you have the similar silhouette. However, the wheels are made for the Punch-ev itself. These are low rolling resistance tires from Apollo, and the wheel caps are also lighter. Here you have a nice cladding which gives the car a rugged look, but what's new here is this camera for the 360-degree surround system. For the door you have a request sensor right here. You have roof rails finished in piano black, and the door handle for the rear is here like the Tata Punch. Moving to the rear, the design is pretty much similar to the Punch petrol Punch, and the only difference you'll notice is this logo right here is in white, and you have the Punch.ev branding here. Let's open up the boot and see how much space you get there. Now the rated capacity is 366 liters, so you can load quite some luggage here for 4 people for a week. And the seat folds flat. There's no 60-40 split, which would have been better, but it's not there. The whole seat will go down. Now this also does not have a spare wheel, but you do get a tire puncture repair kit with this. Now another feature that this car has is in the bonnet. Obviously you don't have the engine, there's a motor down here, but you get a 14-liter Frunk where you can store your charging cables or some other items that you might want to store, but the max weight that it can hold is 5 kgs only. So that was the exterior of the Tata Punch.ev. Let's get inside and see what's different there. Now the doors of the Tata Punch.ev open wide 90 degrees, so this has been retained from the old car, and getting into it is very easy. As you can see, I'm sitting very comfortably. I got in very easily. Now obviously once you enter the Punch.ev, you will notice that the dashboard layout is similar to the Punch, but you have this 10.25-inch massive screen right here, which you also see on the Nexon EV, and the steering wheel, which is designed like the Nexon EV. So it has this gloss panels right here, steering mounted controls are right here, nice stitching, a nice flat bottom steering wheel, looks futuristic, and overall it's a nice feeling steering. However, I don't like this panel right here, but because it does pick up fingerprint scuffs and it has already started picking up scratches. You will have to keep cleaning this unit and the unit right here. Now this is the new 10.25 inch infotainment screen, and you have a 10.25 inch screen as the driver information system as well. It's completely digital. On the lower variants, you will not get the 10.5 inch screen. You get the old screen that you used to get on the Tata Punch. Right here you have the aircon controls. Now this is a nice textured panel. This is a nice texture panel, so it's nice to touch. This is hard plastic. So this panel is new, and Tata calls it phygital controls. It's called phygital because it has digital and physical control. The physical controls are for the aircon, and you have all these new buttons right here. This is to open the charging port. This is the defogger. You have hill descent control on this car on the long range variant, so you get that as well. This is to release the boot. This is the lock, and this is the 360 view camera. Here you have the aircon controls. Now going to the 360 view camera, once you press it, you get a nice 360 degree view of the car, and this door is open. That's why you see a black patch here, but otherwise you can see everything very clearly. The resolution is somewhat okay. It could have been better because overall the other features are so good that you expect a better resolution for the screen, but it's not bad, but it could have been better. And you have all kinds of view, like a 3D surround view wherein you can check out the car completely. You have the side angle view, the rear angle view, and multiple angles that you can use while parking the car. Now this is the new 10.25 inch screen. There is a host of apps on this. Obviously it's connected via Android Auto. It's wireless, so you don't have to carry a cable around because you have wireless charging as well. You can use Amazon Music. You have Maps. PlugShare is the app to find the nearest charger. Then you have your messages, Messenger. All your Android apps which are supported by the screen will be present here. Now if you don't want to use that, you want to use the one that Tata has, so you just go to home and you'll go to Acti.ev. These are the apps that Tata has. So you have a Ghana subscription, you have JioSaavn, then you have video and entertainment. So you have Prime Video, Disney Hotstar, YouTube, which you can watch when the car is stationary, or it won't work while you are driving. So when you have halted for a charge top up, you can log into these apps and watch your favorite shows and movies. And if you're bored, you don't feel like watching anything, you want to play some games, you can do that as well. So you can go to sports and games and probably pull up a racing game and you can play that as well. So picture this, you are at a charging station and you want to pass the time. You don't want to watch a video, but you want to play games. You like playing games, so you can just use the screen. Oh, I went into reverse. Okay. This is going to take some getting used to, but yeah, okay. So yeah, you can have some fun. The touch is nice and responsive, and you can actually have some fun. The only thing is the sitting angle is a little weird, so you really have to stretch your right hand, and the passenger sitting on the left will have to stretch their left hand. But otherwise you can also play it with one hand. So if you are a pro, you can do that. So that's Acti.ev. You have a host of other apps as well. The screen itself is nice and responsive, good touchscreen. The colors used are really nice. They're nice. They look premium. It reminds me of the Land Rover cars, which have a similar color scheme and a layout. So overall, a good job done here by Tata in terms of the infotainment. Now this is the new 10.25 inch driver information display, and it's fully digital, as you can see. The lower variants do not get a fully digital console. They get a part digital, part analog. But as you can see, a host of information can be displayed here. Right here you have the range. Here you have the drive power, and then you have the Regen. So when it goes into Regen, this will start filling up. There you have the battery SoC. It's at 77% right now. You have the telltale lights, the headlight, the seat belt, the drive mode. It's in park right now. Trip info, the range again, odometer, and the speed. You can use the buttons here on the steering wheel to cycle through the menu. So you have TPMS, you have energy analytics, the media controls, navigation. So once you turn the map on, it will open up a full map right here, and of course your phone notifications as well. So overall, a nice sophisticated looking driver information console. Now coming to the central console right here, you have a fast charger, which is a type C. You have a USB port and a 12-volt charging port as well for your cigarette lighter and other chargers that you want to connect. You get wireless charging in this. You get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as well. And this is the dial for the drive selector. You have parking, reverse, neutral and drive modes. In the long range you get 3 modes, sport, eco and city, which I'll talk about later. And you also get the electronic parking brake, auto hold feature, 2 cup holders here, a small space to hold your knickknacks and a nice armrest. Now another thing that I liked about this car is the seats. It's designed like the Nexon EV. We've seen this on the Nexon EV, but fitting those kind of seats, that quality of seats in the Punch was really nice, and kudos to Tata for that. These are ventilated, so that's a segment first again, and they're very comfortable. You get nice bolstering on the sides, so they hold you in place, and there's a reason for that, which I will talk about when I'm driving the car. You also get a glove box here, which has a decent amount of space, auto dimming IRVMs, and you also get a sunroof. Now let's hop on to the back and see what's new there. Now getting into the rear seat is also as easy as the front, because the door opens nice and wide. You just step inside. It's a little tall, so for the elderly it might be a problem, but otherwise it's very easy to get into. And if you can see, knee room plenty. Seat is adjusted to my driving position, and there's plenty of knee room, plenty of space for my feet, good under thigh support, and decent amount of headroom. It's not the best, but it's decent. As you can see, it's scooped out to accommodate the sunroof. If the sunroof wasn't there, the roof would have been a little further up. The seat cushioning is nice. It's going to be comfortable for 2 passengers at the rear, and the middle passenger could be a kid. 3 adults, it's going to be like a tough squeeze. Other than that, you have armrest, but there are no cup holders here. 3-point seat belts for all the passengers, so the center passenger also gets a 3-point seat belt. Magazine holders here. There's no rear AC vent, and there is no rear charger as well. So those were the interiors of the new Tata Punch EV. Let us know what you think of its interiors. Now let's get driving. Now if you're driving the Tata Punch EV and you've already driven the petrol variant, you'll find that this car is much different to drive. Not only because it's an electric, but also the chassis and the suspension have been set up a little different. So the overall feel of the car is really different, and it is better than the petrol version. Now this car that we are driving is a long range, and it comes with a 35 kilowatt hour battery pack, which claims a range of about 421 kilometers. But in real world, if you're not very aggressive, you can get 300 to 320 kilometers very easily. Now this car puts out 122 HP of power and 190 Newton meters of torque, and all that torque comes in instantly. You don't have to build up revs, you don't have to wait for that power to come up, and which is why it's fun driving into the corners. And because of its chassis, the sporty setup and the suspension, if you like going fast into corners, if you like driving aggressively in the corners, you will have real fun with this car. We got a very brief moment with this car on the track, and I was all smiles because the way the car performed was unexpected, and I really enjoyed a lot. Now we were also taken to an off-road section where we saw what this car is capable of, and it handled everything, all the obstacles pretty well. Now in terms of handling, I feel that if you've driven the Tata Punch ICE variant, the handling on this car is much better because of obviously the chassis that is more rigid now, and the ground up, the active architecture that Tata has come up with. It has somehow enabled the car to balance the weight really well, and because of which the center of gravity is where it's supposed to be, and overall the weight is balanced all across the car, and you will have a lot of fun while driving. Also, though the suspension is stiff, it's not unsettling. Even when you go over bad patches of road, it's not unsettling. People are still going to be very, very comfortable. Speaking about comfort, these new seats with side bolstering are very, very comfortable, and you get these on the higher personas, and then the seats are a highlight of this car. They're really nice. The one on the top end comes with ventilation as well, so that's added comfort. But overall, the under thigh support, side bolstering, everything is really nice, and especially the driver seat, I can say that it's very comfortable and you can drive for longer hours without getting tired. Now, besides the long range, there's also the regular Tata Punch.ev, which comes with a 25 kilowatt hour battery. Now that produces 81 HP of power and 114 Newton meters of torque. Now obviously we haven't driven that car, so we won't be able to tell you how that performs. The range on that one is 315 kilometers. That is the claimed range, but in real world you should get around 220-230 kilometers of range. So in my opinion, if you're buying the Punch EV, I would suggest you go for the long range, because it then sets you up for long drives as well. I mean, 320, 330 is a decent amount of range where you can do intercity trips very easily. Now the Punch EV long range comes with 3 driving modes. It comes with Eco, City and Sports. Now by default, the City mode is always activated, and that's where you get a balance of performance. So you get a good range as well as a decent amount of performance. And the Sports mode is where you're going to have a lot of fun, where you get all the torque instantly and you can really gun for the corners. You can have fun on the highway, but it will reduce the range by a lot, and so you will have to give up on range for performance. The Eco mode is also fine to drive. I would not always be in the Eco mode, but if you're in traffic, that's the mode that you want to be in, because that's where you'll get maximum regen. You don't need a lot of performance at that time, so driving in the Eco mode is best in traffic. Now besides that, you also get 4 levels of regen, so 3 levels of regen, and then obviously there's the regen off mode, and you get these nice paddle shifters, and with them you can control the regen modes. My favorite mode to drive was the City mode with the level 3 regen engaged. It's pretty much single pedal driving, and I hardly used the brakes while driving on city roads. On the other hand, the regular Punch with the 25 kilowatt hour battery pack gets only 2 driving modes, City and Sports. It does not get the Eco driving mode. Now, the Punch.ev is the first car in its segment to get ventilated seats, as well as 360-degree surround view camera. And what it helps in is when you are engaging the turn indicators, the infotainment screen will turn into a blind spot monitor. So I'll just show you when we're going to take a right turn ahead. Now you'll see as soon as I engage the right indicator, this turns into a blind spot monitor, and you can see what's on the right side, the oncoming traffic from the right hand side, and if there is a vehicle, obviously it's a good safety feature. You can just stop or slow down and make your turn safely. So that is a really nice feature to have. Besides that, overall there have been no complaints with the performance. Obviously we can't test the range because we have had a very short time with the car, but looking at the driver information display, I can safely say that 300 to 320 kilometers is going to be a safe range with this car if you're driving, switching between City and Sports mode, and sometimes in the Eco mode if you are in traffic. Obviously if you're in traffic and you're in Eco mode, you're going to get some more range because the regen there is much higher in traffic than on the highways. In terms of handling, like I said, it is a very nice to handle car, nice to drive car. You're going to have fun. The steering also weighs up pretty nicely. My only complaint is that this panel right here is prone to fingerprints, and this unit has already started picking up scratches. So if you get like a screen protector like we get for phones, if you have a protector, I would recommend that you install that, because this picks up scratches very easily. So does the surface right here. It is all finished in gloss black, and it is prone to smudges and scratches. Now another highlight are the brakes. Since this is an electric car and it has a lot of power, it needs good stopping power as well. So Tata has installed all 4 disc brakes on this, and stopping power when you hit the brakes is instantaneously. You get a nice initial bite and you can almost come to a standstill very quickly. Also, the braking performance in the Regen modes is really nice, and in the level 3 Regen mode you hardly need to use the brakes because the car will slow down and apply brakes automatically for you. Obviously you have to be aware of the surroundings and keep your foot on the brake. Do not use it, but keep your foot on the brake, ready to engage the brake if required. But the overall driving is pretty effortless. You're not going to feel any fatigue even after a 300-kilometer drive. So that was the Tata Punch.ev for you. It comes in 2 battery formats. It comes in 4 different personas, and you have a lot of combinations and options to choose from. So who is this car for? So if you are a first-time EV buyer, you can definitely look at this car because the prices start at 10.99 lakhs, and if you're looking for an entry-level EV, this is one car you could go for. The highlights: it rides really well, it handles really well, it has a comfortable ride, it's loaded with features, and the build quality is also solid. Also, a lot of safety features are also on offer. Right now there is no competition for this car because in this segment we don't have any other electric vehicle which comes in the same price segment or size segment, and obviously you have the Mahindra XUV 400, which is higher up and competes with the Nexon. Let us know what do you think about this car. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments below and we'll try and answer each and every one of them. And let us know which feature of the Tata Punch.ev did you like the most. Subscribe to Motoroids if you haven't already. Press that bell icon so that you get notified whenever we upload our next video. This is Vipul signing off. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, rev hard, rev free, and drive safe.